Okay, well, it is that time of year where kids are going back to school. Parents are kind of getting back into that routine. We have the holidays coming up. I hate to even say that, but it's so true. It's sneaking up on us, and I feel like this season is really busy for everyone. And so I wanted to share some easy recipes that are perfect for the weeknight and kind of the back to school season. These recipes are going to be easy to make. They're delicious, healthy. I think that you're really going to enjoy these. And if we haven't met before, my name is Ange. Welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. Okay, so for our first recipe, this is a skillet ravioli with meat sauce. This is almost a one skillet meal, but you do have to cook the ravioli, and I use store-bought stuffed ravioli. You can use any kind that you like. The meat sauce is really simple. This comes together so fast, but it feels like just a cozy, hearty meal. You can serve it with a side of green beans or a side salad. It's absolutely delicious. All right, so for our skillet ravioli with meat sauce, I'm heating up a pan here, and I want it to be an oven-safe pan because we are gonna put this under the broiler. I did go ahead and cook my butternut squash. So I just bought a couple of packages at Trader Joe's. This is the butternut squash brand. Or not the brand, but the butternut squash kind. And I really like it. And I think it'll go good with the meat sauce because it's a little bit sweet, but you can use any kind of ravioli. And I just cooked it according to the package directions. Boil about 3 minutes in some salted water and then drain it off. So I'm gonna set this over here for now until we're ready to use it. So I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And we're going to add in 1 pound of ground turkey. You can also do ground beef, but I wanted this to be a little bit lighter. I'm also going to add in 1 small onion that I've diced. And basically, we're just going to get our ground meat cooked up until it's no longer pink and our onions are soft. Okay, now that our ground turkey is where I want it to be, there's still a little bit of liquid in the pan, but that's totally fine. I'm going to add in 2 garlic cloves minced. I also have 1½ teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a ½ teaspoon of kosher salt, and a ½ teaspoon of black pepper. I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to cook the garlic and the tomato paste and seasonings for like a minute. It just really helps like enhance the flavor when you kind of toast it a little bit first. That looks good. So now I'm going to add in an entire 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and this is with oregano and basil. So it'll just give it that much more flavor. Okay, we'll stir this in. I mean, we are near the end. This is such a quick recipe, perfect for kind of a back-to-school weeknight meal. Makes awesome leftovers if you have leftovers. So at this point, I want to cook kind of the tomato sauce and the meat together for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to bring this to a low simmer. I really just want to heat up the sauce and make sure that it's nice and warm before we add the ravioli. All right, this has been simmering for about 5 minutes. I just stirred it a couple of times. So we are ready to add our ravioli, and I turned the heat down to low. So the raviolis, they're going to kind of stick together a little bit because they're pretty starchy. So just be careful when you're pulling them apart that you don't open them up. I mean, you'll probably have some that'll be busted open. As a matter of fact, there was one opened and I thought, you know, I just better eat that. I mean, these butternut squash raviolis are so good, and the sweetness of the butternut squash I think is going to be delicious with kind of this tangy tomato sauce. So, see, that guy is really stuck together. There we go. All right, last 2 go in. Okay, now that we have them all in there, I'm just going to gently kind of fold the tomato sauce in with the raviolis so that we can kind of combine everything. It's almost like a lazy man's lasagna in a skillet. So just kind of a light little toss. We're definitely going to be adding some cheese. I mean, already, doesn't this just look delicious? Such a fun dish. All right, one more good toss. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then I've got 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. And I went ahead and shredded this myself because I really wanted that fresh, kind of fresher mozzarella cheese gooiness. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I have my broiler set on high. I'm gonna put this under the broiler, and I just kind of want to like melt the cheese and toast it up a little bit. Just a couple of minutes. We definitely don't want to burn our ravioli. And then we'll add a little fresh basil, and then we get to taste this. gotta get like the perfect bite. Oh my gosh, yum, look at that, check that out. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. This tastes like something that you could find in a really nice restaurant. I'm not even kidding. And I'm so picky when I go out to dinner. Okay, this probably sounds kind of snobby, but when I go out to dinner, the food has to taste just as good, if not better, than what I can make at home. That's kind of how I feel, especially with it being so expensive now to go out to eat. I mean, you gotta wow me. This is a wow dinner. And if you do not like butternut squash, this is a good recipe to try using the butternut squash ravioli, because it just offers a hint of sweetness. You don't taste squash flavors. It feels a little bit lighter than some of the raviolis that are stuffed with a lot of cheese, and it almost has kind of that same consistency as a stuffed cheese ravioli that has ricotta cheese. Such a good combination with that kind of savory tomato-based sauce and then the sweet butternut. I mean, this definitely feels a little bit more of a fancy like Friday night meal, but so fast and easy, perfect for the back to school season and weeknight meals. It's definitely a keeper. All right, so for our zesty lime chicken and rice, we have to start by marinating our chicken. So I've got 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I did trim off a little bit of the fat just so the dish wasn't too oily. You can also do chicken breasts if you'd rather do that. So we're gonna go for like 1.5 pounds of chicken. Okay, and then next we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm gonna zest in this entire lime, and then we're also gonna use the juice from the lime. We're also going to smash in a couple of garlic cloves. You can mince the garlic cloves if you really want to kind of make it more garlicky, but I'm just going to smash it just to give it kind of that garlic essence. I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of honey just to sweeten it up a little bit. Plus it really helps to caramelize the chicken. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of chili powder. I'll do about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I'm also going to do 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to add about 1/4 cup of freshly chopped cilantro. And that is it for the marinade. So I'm just going to smush all this together. And the great thing about this recipe is you only need to marinate it for about 30 minutes, but you can put it in the refrigerator in the morning time if you leave for work, and then it's ready for you to go when you get home. So I'm gonna pop this in the fridge. We're gonna let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then we're gonna get the rest of our steps going. Our chicken is done marinating, and I've got my heat set at about medium high. We're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Pretty much the rest of that. All right, and we're just gonna place our chicken down. Okay, so at this point, we just want to brown the chicken on both sides. I'm not going to cook it all the way because it'll finish cooking with the rice. So once this is nice and golden on that first side, I'll flip it. We'll get it nice and golden on the other side, and then we'll move on with the next step. All right, now that we got the chicken out of the pan, I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of butter, and we're gonna leave all those drippings in there because that will give the rice even more flavor. So we just wanna melt the butter first before we add in our veggies. And then we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of yellow chopped up onion. We're also gonna add in 1 minced garlic clove. This is a really large garlic clove, but you can definitely add more garlic if you want more garlicky flavor. Okay, I'm gonna saute the onions and garlic for a couple minutes until they're softened. Okay, this looks perfect. Now I'm gonna add in my white rice. So I've got 1 cup of basmati rice, or you can do long grain white rice, but you definitely wanna make sure it's a long grain so it's nice and fluffy. So at this point, I'm gonna toast the rice for a couple minutes. This will actually give it really good flavor too when you take the time to do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna add in some seasonings. I've got some sumac seasoning, 1 teaspoon of that, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Now the sumac, you can use lemon pepper in place of that. It's just a real citrusy spice, so I think it'll be perfect in here. All right, I'm gonna let this go a couple minutes before we add in our chicken stock. So I'm gonna add in 2 cups of low sodium chicken stock. I'll give this a little stir. And then I'm gonna bring the heat up to like medium high because I wanna bring this to a good simmer. And then we're gonna nestle our chicken thighs back into this rice and liquid here. And they'll finish cooking with the rice. Super simple. Definitely want to add all of those juices in there. All right, now that this is up to a good simmer, I'm going to pop the lid on and we're going to let this cook about 15 minutes until all of the liquid has absorbed and the rice is cooked and the chicken is cooked. And then we'll add a couple more ingredients and then we get to taste it. All right, so this has been cooking for 15 minutes and then I turned off the heat and let it set for 5 minutes. Let's take a peek. Look at that. Look how the rice has absorbed all the liquid. So we only have to add 2 more ingredients. I'm going to zest a little bit of this lime over the top just to add more of that kind of zesty, citrusy flavor. And then I'm also going to juice this lime in with the rice as well. I'll squeeze the juice over the top. And then I'm going to scatter some fresh cilantro over the top. This is optional. And if you don't like cilantro, you can also trade it out for parsley. Okay, and all I need to do is just go in with a fork and just fluff it just a little bit. Kind of mix in some of that lime zest and the lime juice. So easy, such a perfect weeknight meal, kind of back to school recipe when you don't have a lot of time but you still want a nice like nutritious dinner. You can make a side salad. All right, that looks perfect. It's time to serve it. All right, I cut myself up some chicken and then I decided to add a little bit, I did just like a drizzle of the creme, like the Mexican creme. It's a little bit thinner, it's a lot thinner actually than sour cream, but you could do sour cream or no cream at all. But I thought that this would be a fun addition just to give it some creaminess, a little bit of coolness. Look at that, okay. The flavor of that rice is perfect. It's a teensy bit spicy. You really get that citrusy flavor, but it's not overly limey. I know we put in a lot of lime and zest, but I think it's the perfect amount. Awesome chicken and rice recipe. And like I said, if you don't want to do chicken thighs, do chicken breasts. It is so, so good. Perfect for a back to school recipe or weeknight meal. So for our oven baked soft tacos with avocado cream, we have to start by cooking our ground meat. And I'm just using a pound of lean ground beef. I'm also going to add in about a ½ cup of chopped up yellow onion. Okay, I just want to get my beef cooked up here. We'll just crumble it. This recipe comes together super fast. This is the perfect like weeknight back to school recipe. And who doesn't love tacos, right? I shared a recipe a while back on one of my videos. I'll make sure to link it below. I made crunchy oven baked tacos. And there is just no other way that I like to do tacos now than putting them in the oven in a pan. It's just so much easier. So I thought the soft tacos would be kind of something fun and different. Okay, we'll let that cook for a minute and then we'll come back and finish up with our ingredients. Okay, while our ground beef is cooking, hopefully it's not too loud, I have about a cup of black beans that I've rinsed and drained. And I'm gonna take my fork and I'm gonna mash the beans just a little bit. I mean, I don't want this to be like mushy or like refried bean texture, but I do want to kind of create a little bit of a thicker consistency here when we put this in with the ground beef. You could definitely use refried beans instead, but I didn't want it to be quite that thick. Just smash them a little. And it's much easier to do it in here than it is when you put it in the pan with the ground beef. This is going to create kind of a thicker meat sauce or meat mixture to sit on the bottom of the tortillas. Okay, that looks good. All right, our ground beef looks good. So now I'm going to add in a whole packet of taco seasoning. And I like to toast my taco seasoning for just a minute before I add in the water. Okay, we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of water. Then I'm also gonna add in my black beans, my smashed black beans. I'm gonna cook this a few more minutes until the sauce thickens and everything is warmed through. All right, this looks perfect. There's no more liquid in the pan and everything is heated through. So I'm gonna pull this off the heat and then we're gonna head over to the cutting board and start getting our tortillas filled. So what I have going on here, I have a 9 by 13 inch baking dish I sprayed with nonstick cooking spray, and then I put these fajita size tortillas down in my pan, and they actually sit in there very nicely. And I used the whole wheat low carb just to make it a little bit healthier tonight. And since we're making tacos and they'll be so flavorful, my family won't even notice the difference. So I'm gonna get the meat mixture divided between all these tortillas, and then we're gonna add a little bit of cheese inside the tortilla, and then we'll talk about baking time. Okay, do those not look so delicious? Already I could just pick one up and eat it. But we gotta bake them. So I have my oven set at 375 and I'm gonna pop this in for about 10 minutes. And while that happens, we're gonna make our avocado cream sauce. Okay, so for our avocado cream sauce, we gotta start with some avocado, obviously. And I'm just using 2 like medium-sized avocados. And these are like almost not quite ripe yet, but they're starting to soften, so I think it'll be fine. All right, so we'll just get all that flesh in there. This is a delicious sauce to make and just have for dipping in chips. It is so yummy. Or you can serve it along any kind of like Mexican inspired recipe, but it's gonna be delicious in the tacos. Okay, and I'm just gonna get the avocados mashed up here. Kind of slippery little boogers. Okay, I think that looks good. So now we got to add some lime juice. I'm going to do probably half of this lime because these are so juicy. I shared this in my last video. These limes that I've been getting right now are just crazy juicy, and they're all really large, which I'm not complaining. Okay, and I'm also going to add in a 1/4 cup of sour cream. This is going to make it nice and creamy. And depending on the size of the avocado, sometimes I'll add a little bit more sour cream. Oh my gosh, that scared me. That was my dog. Okay, what was I saying? Sometimes I'll add a little more sour cream depending on how big my avocado is. Okay, and then next we're gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm just gonna eyeball this. That looks pretty good. And then we've got to add some cilantro. Got a 1/4 cup of chopped up cilantro. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we'll taste it just to make sure we don't need any more seasoning. Okay, that looks pretty good. She is over there growling by the window. She must hear somebody. Maybe the UPS guy. Maybe my husband's home. Somebody's home. Hang on one sec. Okay, I am back. My husband's home. He's usually not home this early in the afternoon. Okay, stirring everything together. That's good because he'll get to enjoy these tacos fresh out of the oven. Usually he's got to wait for me to, you know, film and do all of my photos. So this will be good. I'm going to give this a little taste. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just so yummy. So we just got to wait for our tacos to get done, and then we're going to add some of our sauce and a couple more toppings, and then we get to taste it. All right, we are ready to taste it. Doesn't it look so delicious? I mean, taco night, it's the best. I love tacos. I could eat tacos probably 3 days out of the week. Not even kidding. So I added a little bit of tomatoes, some lettuce, and then the avocado cream sauce. Really simple. I mean, you could build this taco crazy, but they hold up so well in the oven, which I just love. All right, let's give this a taste. The best taco. So delicious. And when you bake tacos in the oven like this, the ingredients kind of hold together better. So it's a lot less messy than when you eat traditional tacos, which is just fine. I'll eat tacos anyway, but when you bake them in the oven, they're the best. And you'll probably never go back once you do it that way because It's just so much easier. These are delicious, and the avocado cream sauce, I mean, it just makes it. All right, you got to make these tacos. They're so yummy. And if you don't want to do ground beef, you could do ground chicken or ground turkey. Super versatile, but you definitely have to make the avocado cream sauce because that's just what makes these tacos. Well, I hope you found some inspiration in today's video for some back to school weeknight dinners. You'll have to let me know which ones look good to you. And don't forget, all the recipe links can be found in the descriptions. And if you're new here, I'd love for you to be part of my YouTube family, so make sure to subscribe. I hope you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.